about the same 7 minutes off Sunrise, um, because I don't travel fast. So that's what it takes. By the time I get here, that's when it starts to warm up.
Well, we go over that part Route 3, and we don't get onto Sunrise because it's like either going 50 miles or it's a traffic
So
jam.
you get on Union Avenue.
No, we go all the way up to Main Street because you can't get out on Union before the
Okay, you
cars
go
start
to
coming.
Montauk
And
and
then
then
we
you go
follow it
west.
all the way around.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But
See,
today
I
it
don't
was
mind
going
doing
slow.
that in the day. At night, I get a little spooked because I have night blindness. So I try to go slowly, because I can't see that well. That's why I don't do a lot of driving at night. Most of it's in the day.
Most of the driving we do at night is to here.
Well,
And that's it.
that I can handle.
Yeah.
But any further, I wouldn't be going,
Yeah.
much further.
Because most of the people too is they don't have their brights on, but they have these new halogen lights
And
that
they-
feel like they're the brights, and they light up your whole cabin from
Right,
going.
whether they're in the back or the front. You're right.
They blind you.
Exactly. It tortures you.
I know. I'm like, I can see in the cabin. What's up? And I look in the side mirror, and I'm like, oh,
No.
what is this the car? It's like, oh, especially when you're stuck and you can't, going slow.
That's funny. Where is everyone?
Oh no, I was surprised that it's like fine tuning because that's
Sit on the edge.
Good shopping. Good shopping. Well, I'll go over here. I guess we'll do all the looking up front. Hallelujah.
It is actually.
I know. Well, we're here, that's what's important.
The abundant congregation we've got going.
yeah, I see it. Yep. Where is it?
I don't know, but we might have to ask you all to move. I mean, I like exuberant small groups, but if you're all going to be all over the place, that might be a little frustrating. Linda, are your friends coming? Linda, your friends coming?
Third row.
You
You on the end?
sound system is a work in progress. That's all I have to say about that. Yes, that's what I was referencing.
This is from last week. That's last week. I'm right the wrong person to ask though. So I guess we're not gonna ask people to move?
Huh?
I said, so we're not gonna ask people to move?
Oh, well, we can ask people to move, I guess, but it's also possible that people are going to trickle in because apparently there's a horrible accident not too far from here that some folks encounter that's been kind of pushing back the arrival time. So it's possible that people might kind of trickle in.
Well, they already
tonight.
have from when we first came out.
That is very true. That's very true. And we're happy to have you all whenever you choose to arrive. Shabbat Shalom, everyone.
Shabbat shalom.
Please take a moment and look around, find someone new, someone you haven't seen before, someone you're excited to see. Wish them a Shabbat
Shabbat
Shalom. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat shalom. Shabbat shalom, virtual.
Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom, those watching online. We can't forget the virtual participants. It's a new world, folks, a new world. We're going to now start with our candle lighting, which can be found on pages 120 and 121. And I would like to invite up Deb and Eileen to lead us in our candle lighting this evening.
Please rise.
So you're gonna, as these candles give light.
As these candles give light to all who behold them, so may we, by our lives, give light to all who behold us.
As their brightness reminds us of the generations of Israel who have kindled light, so may we, in our own day, be among those who kindle light. So now we're going to light the candles. Do you want to do that?
Go ahead. I'll hold.
Okay.
Oh.
I love that. It's beautiful.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu להדליק נר של שבת.
Shabbat Shalom.
Please be seated. We are going to continue now with Lecha Dodi, which can be found on pages 138 and 139. And tonight we'll be singing verses 1, 5, and 9. And when we reach verse 9, we will all rise together as we welcome in the Sabbath bride.
Lecha Dodi likrat kala B'nei Shabbat nekabela Lecha Dodi likrat kala B'nei Shabbat nekabela Lecha Dodi Lecha Dodi likrat kala B'nei Shabbat nekabela Lecha Dodi likrat kala B'nei Shabbat nekabela Shamor v'zachor b'dibur echad Ishmi'anu el hamiuchad Adonai echad u'shemo echad L'shem u'tiferet v'litchila Lecha Dodi Dodi Lecha Dodi likrat kala B'nei Shabbat nekabela Lecha Dodi likrat kala B'nei Shabbat nekabela Hitoreri Ki ba'orech kumi ori Uri shir daberi K'mod Adonai alayich nigla Lecha Dodi Lecha Dodi likrat kala B'nei Shabbat nekabela Lecha Dodi likrat kala B'nei Shabbat nekabela Boi v'shalom ha'ateret bala Gam b'simcha u'b'tzola Toch emunei am segula Boi chala Lecha Dodi Dodi Lecha Dodi likrat kala B'nei Shabbat nekabela Lecha Dodi likrat kala B'nei Shabbat nekabela
We now turn to page 144 for our Chatzi Kaddish, our metaphorical breath or break amidst the service, the preparation before the call to worship the Baruch Hu.
Yitkadal ve'yitkadash shemei Rabba
Amen.
B'alma divrei ורח חירותי וימליך מלכותי בחייכון וביומכון ובחיי לכל בית ישראל בגלה ובזמן קריב אמרו
Amen.
יש מרבה מבורך לעולם עולם לעלמיה
Yitbarach.
יתברך וישתבח ויתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתהלל שמי דקודשה לילה מן כל ברכתה ושירתה
תושבחתה ונחמתה דמירן בעלמה ואמרו Amen. We continue now with our call to worship, our Baruch Hu prayer on page 146. We invite you to rise, to stretch out with your legs, with your voices, with your spirits as we call out in prayer together.
Baruch Hu et Adonai HaMevorach Baruch Adonai HaMevorach Le'olam Va'ed.
Praise Adonai, to whom praise is due forever. Praise be Adonai, to whom praise is due now and forever. Please be seated. We continue now on page 148. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher bidbaro ma'ariv aravim. We continue together in the English on the same page. Blessed are you, Adonai, our God, ruler of the universe, who speaks the evening into being, skillfully opens the gates, thoughtfully alters the time and changes the seasons, and arranges the stars in their heavenly courses according to plan. You are creator of day and night, rolling light away from darkness and darkness from light, transforming day into night, and distinguishing one from the other. Adonai Tsebaot is your name. Ever-living God, you may reign continually over all into eternity. Blessed are you, Adonai, who brings on evening.
Baruch atah Adonai HaMahariv Aravim.
Amen. We continue now with Ahavat Olam on page 150.
Ahavat Olam Beit Yisrael Amchata Torah u'mitzvot chukim u'mishpatim otanu limadeta Al ken Adonai Eloheinu v'shochbeinu v'kumeinu nasiach b'chukecha v'nismach b'divrei toratcha u'b'mitzvotecha le'olam va'ed ki hem chayenu ve'orech yameinu u'bahem neged yomam v'layla ve'avatecha tasir mimanu le'olamim Baruch atah Adonai ohev amo Yisrael
grab a little bit of that everlasting love and we bring it along with us to our Shema, found on pages 152 and 153. We rise together as we proclaim that God is one. Listen up, O Israel, God is indeed one. We sing out together.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad, Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Leolam Vaed.
Hear, O Israel, Adonai is our God. Adonai is one. Blessed is God's glorious majesty forever and ever. Please be seated as we continue on the next page.
Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha b'chol levavecha u'b'chol nafshecha u'b'chol me'odecha ve'hayu advarim ha'ele asher anochi metzavecha hayom al levavecha v'shinantam levanecha v'dibarta bam b'shivtecha b'beitecha ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך ובשרתם נאות על ידיך והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובישעריך למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם.
Adonai Elohechem emet. We certainly love God with all of our hearts, with all of our minds, with all of our souls. We hope to see God through our action and in deeds. We hope to see God when we enter a room and we see a mezuzah. We hope that we might see God when we do wonderful mitzvot in the world, remembering God's commandments, remembering that it was indeed God who brought us out of the land of Egypt, as we are reading in this very book of Shemot, or Exodus. We continue now on page 156. We read in the English together. All this we hold to be true and trustworthy for us. You alone are our God, and we are Israel, your people. You are our sovereign and Savior, who delivers us from oppressors' hands and saves us from tyrants' fists. You work wonders without number, marvels beyond count. You give us life and steady our footsteps. You performed miracles for us before Pharaoh, signs and wonders in the land of the Egyptians. You led your people Israel out from their midst to freedom for all time. When your children witnessed your dominance, they praised your name in gratitude, and they accepted your sovereignty. Moses, Miriam, and all Israel sang to you together, lifting their voices joyously, singing out Mi Chamocha, found on page 158. Ya bye bye bim 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 bye. Ya bye bye bim bye. Ya bye bye bim 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 bye. Ya bye bye bim bye. Ay 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 ay. Ya bye bye bim bye. Ay 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 ay. Ya bye bye bim bye. Mi chamocha b'alim Adonai. Mi kamocha nedar b'kodesh. Norati lo osefele. Norati lo osefele. Ya bye bye bim bim bye. Ya bye bye bim bye. Ya bye bye bim bim bye. Ya bye bye bim bye. Ay 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 ay. Ya bye bye bim bye. Ay 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 ay. Ya bye bye bim bye. Alechutecha ra'u banecha bokeach lam lifnei Moshe uMiriam. Ze'eli hanu ve'amru Adonai lo le'olam va'ed. Ya bye bye bim bim bye. Ya bye bye bim bye. Ya bye bye bim bim bye. Ya bye bye bim bye. Ay 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 ay. Ya bye bye bim bye. Ay 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 ay. Ya bye bye bim bye.
ונאמר כי פדה אדוני את יעקב וגאלו מיד חזק ממנו ברוך אתה אדוני גאל ישראל.
Amen. We read the first paragraph in the English on page 158. Who is like you, O God, among the gods that are worshipped? Who is like you, majestic in holiness, awesome in splendor, working wonders? We continue now on the bottom of page 161. Give us a place to rest, Adonai, our God. Bring us into shelter in the soft, long evening shadows of your truth. For with you are true protection and safety, and in your presence are acceptance and gentle love. Watch over us as we go forth. Prepare for us as we return. Spread over us your shelter of peace, over all we love, over our Jerusalem and yours.
ברוך אתה, אתה אדוני הפורש סוכת שלום. שלום עלינו ועל כל עמו ישראל. ברוך אתה, אתה אדוני הפורש סוכת שלום. שלום עלינו ועל כל עמו ישראל. ועל ירושלים ועל כל עמו. ועל ירושלים שלום. ועל ירושלים ועל כל עמו. ועל ירושלים שלום. ברוך אתה, אתה אדוני הפורש סוכת שלום. שלום עלינו ועל כל עמו ישראל. שלום עלינו ועל כל עמו ישראל.
We continue now with more music with Vishamru on page 162.
And if you want music all the time, come to Musical Shabbat.
Clearly, an intentional plug
No
was
plug.
set up there.
Shamru
b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat la'asod et ha-Shabbat v'dorotam berit olam v'shamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat la'asod et ha-Shabbat v'dorotam berit olam
Beini uvein
B'nei Yisrael, B'nei Yisrael, oti le'olam. V'shamru B'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat la'asod et ha-Shabbat v'dorotam berit olam.
Ki sheshet yomim asa Adonai et hashamayim ve'et haaretz ve'shamru
B'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat la'asod et ha-Shabbat v'dorotam berit olam.
Uvayom hashvi'i
Shabbat v'yinafosh, Shabbat v'yinafosh, Shabbat v'yinafosh. V'shamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat la'asod et ha-Shabbat v'dorotam berit olam. V'shamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat la'asod et ha-Shabbat v'dorotam berit olam. That's the more calm version. If you want to see Vishamru done with a little more ruach, you should come to the family service in which the kids actually jump up in the midst of the song, adding just that little tip of extra joy for our Shabbat celebration. We continue now with our tefillah, our Amidah prayer, a core part of our worship service. It begins on page 164, continuing on to page 166 with our Avot Ve'imahot, detailing a special relationship with God and each of the patriarchs and matriarchs. Continuing on to the Givurot on page 168, which speaks of God's might, God as a giver of life, God as a source for all. And then it concludes, or the first part of it concludes on page 170 with our Kiddushah, which speaks of God's holiness and echoes our own call to be holy in the world. We pray together, we rise, and again we begin on page 164. Adonai sefatai tiftach ufi yagid tehilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu ve'Elohei avotenu v'imotenu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, ve'Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, ve'Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol Hagibor Ha'norah, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim
למען שמו באהבה, מלך עוזר ומושיע ומגן. ברוך אתה אדוני, מגן אברהם בעזרת שרה. אתה גיבור לעולם אדוני, מחיי הכל אתה רב להושיע. משיב הרוח ומוריד הגשם, מכלכל חיים בחסד, מחיי הכל ברחמים רבים. סומך נופלים ורופא חולים, ומתיר אסורים, ומקיים אמונתו לשני עפר. מי כמוך בגבורות, ומי דומה לך, מלך ממית ומחיה, ומצמיח ישועה. ונאמן אתה להחיות הכל. ברוך אתה אדוני, מחיי הכל. אתה קדוש ושמך קדוש, וקדושים בכל יום יהללוך סלה. ברוך אתה אדוני, האל הקדוש.
We read in the English. You are holy, your name is holy, and those who are holy praise you every day. Blessed are you, Adonai, the holy God. Please be seated. We continue now in the middle of page 175. You are with us in our prayers, our love, and our doubt, and our longing to feel your presence and do your will. You are the still, clear voice within us. Therefore, O God, when doubt troubles us, when anxiety makes us tremble, when pain clouds the mind, we look inward for the answer to our prayers. There may we find you, and there find courage, insight, and endurance. And let our worship bring us closer to one another, that all Israel and all who seek you may find new strength for your service. Baruch atah Adonai, she'odcha levadcha b'yirah na'avod. Amen. We now take a moment to reflect on the week that has just passed. Perhaps something wonderful and amazing and miraculous happened, or perhaps it was a difficult week full of challenges, but there were people there who were friends, who brought comfort, who brought support, who brought solace. Whatever thanks we may find, I ask that you hold on to that as we look to our prayer at the bottom of page 177. We read together. When we behold your heavens, the work of your fingers, the moon and stars that set you in place, what are we humans that you are mindful of us? We mortals that you take note of us. You made us little less than divine, adorned us with glory and majesty. You gave us dominion over your handiwork, laying the world at our feet. How majestic is your name throughout the earth. Baruch atah Adonai, hatov shimcha ulecha na'eh lehodot. Amen. We continue now with the prayer for abundant peace to all people on page 178 with Shalom Rav. Blessed are you, Adonai, who blesses your people Israel with peace. So we hope and pray. Baruch atah Adonai, hambarech et amo Yisrael. Bashalom. Amen. We now take some time for silent prayer. We now turn to pages 122 and 123 for our Kiddush, our sanctification over our wine or grape juice. I'd like to invite forward Stephanie to help us lead this prayer, blessing. And when you reach the page, I'll invite everyone to rise.
And there was evening, and there was morning, the sixth day. The heaven and the earth were finished, and all their array. On the seventh day, God finished the work that God had been doing, and ceased on the seventh day from all work that God had done. And God blessed the seventh day and declared it holy, because on it God ceased from all work of creation that God had done.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kidshanu b'mitzvotav, v'rotzavanu, v'shabbat kosho, v'ahava uvratzon hinchilanu, zikaron lemaseh v'reishit, ki hu yom tekilah lemikra'e kodesh, zecher letziat Mitzrayim, ki banu v'acharta, ve'otanu kinashta, mikol amim, ve'shabbat koshecha, ve'ahava uvratzon, inhaltanu, Baruch atah Adonai, mekadesh hashavat. Amen.
L'chaim.
L'chaim. The good vintage of Manischewitz.
Oh, no, I thought it was that one.
Yeah, I don't think it's
So much of them.
that's mine.
Apparently, we're going to have some special requests for wine in the future.
No, I only get that. Just me.
All right. Well, we're going to remain standing in either case as we transfer over to our Torah service, which can be found starting on page 362. I'd like to invite up Erwin to help me with my Torah scroll tonight, and everybody else sing loudly and strongly.
En kamocha va'Elohim Adonai, ve'en kema'asecha, malchutecha malchut kol amim, u'memshaltecha bechol dor v'dor. Adonai melech, Adonai malach, Adonai yimloch le'olam va'ed, Adonai ozem lo yitein, Adonai yivarech et amo v'shalom.
Source of mercy, favor Zion with your goodness. Rebuild the walls of Jerusalem, for in you alone do we trust. Sovereign, high, and exalted, God eternal. We turn the page.
Ki mitzion tetzei Torah, Ki mitzion tetzei Torah, Ule'amor Adonai miYerushalayim.
In this scroll is a secret of our people's life from Sinai until now. Its teaching is love and justice, goodness and hope. Freedom is its gift to all who treasure it. We turn the page.
Baruch Shenatan Torah Torah, Baruch Shenatan Torah Torah, Le'amo Yisrael b'kedushato. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Echad Eloheinu, Gadol Adonenu, Kadosh Shemo, בשמיים ובארץ, לך אדוני הממלכה, במתנשא לכל ראש. על שלושה דברים, על שלושה דברים, על שלושה דברים העולם עומד. על שלושה דברים, על שלושה דברים, על שלושה דברים העולם עומד. על התורה ועל העבודה ועל גמילות חסדים.
I'll take either.
על התורה ועל העבודה ועל גמילות חסדים. רוממו אדוני אלוהינו וישתחוו להר קודשו. רוממו אדוני אלוהינו וישתחוו להר קודשו. כי קדוש אדוני אלוהינו רוממו. כי קדוש אדוני אלוהינו רוממו.
Please be seated. For those of you that are going to be looking directly for where we are, you can either follow us along in our little handy-dandy sheets, which are over there. We're in Exodus chapter 9, verses 10, 11, and 12. And in our Chumash, if you're following from there, we're on page 242.
There are no page numbers in here.
No, there are not. Longest run-on sentence.
That would be so helpful.
Yes, it would. When we rewrite the Torah, oh wait, that's not a good idea. Version 2.0 of
Yeah.
Torah will include page numbers and punctuation.
Yeah.
Dun dun dun. Blasphemy. Okay. And speaking of plagues,
Exactly.
we continue our journey, our epic journey, our life-defining journey as a people through this wonderful Exodus story. This is only the second chapter in our Exodus, the second parsha, rather. Technically, we're in the 6th through 9th chapters. But the second parsha within this epic journey. And already, Moses is confronted with difficulties. He comes back, he talks to the people, and the people are like, why are we going to listen to you? Who are you? Like, how do we know that you have any power or authority or ability to actually do anything of any worth? Because, to be fair, the Jewish people had been slaves and they hadn't exactly had the easiest way of life. And so it probably was a little bit difficult for them to be trusting. And so Moses had to show them that God actually was the one who had directed him towards this mission. Moses again claims that he is not able, he's very humble, and so he claims that he once more is not able to effectively lead the Jewish people. And so Aaron, his brother, steps up by his side and agrees to be his spokesperson because Moses feels that he's a little bit slow of speech. The actual Hebrew translates to uncircumcised lips or something along those lines, which is a very odd image. And of course, the commentators have lots to say about that. But the very notion that, this is a model of two brothers in our biblical narrative actually getting along with each other, working towards a common goal, cooperating, using each of their various skill sets to be effective in this process is amazing. And then they go to Pharaoh, and Pharaoh, if you thought the Jewish people or the Hebrews were difficult to convince, bless you, Pharaoh also becomes very difficult to convince. He's not at all convinced, and so the plagues start to come to fruition. There are, I believe, 7 of the 10 plagues that appear in this parsha, so the majority of them, but not the 3 most kind of wicked or harsh plagues. And Moses continues to come and perform some kind of, frogs and boils and hail and blood and so on and so forth. And each time Pharaoh's like, oh yes, I'm going to let the people go. Just take this plague away. And they take the plague away, and then lo and behold, Pharaoh changes his mind, and we start once more. Interestingly, which I'll be focusing on a little bit later, the first 5 times that this happens, Pharaoh changes his heart on his own. But the 6th time that it happens, Pharaoh's heart is actually hardened by God. So is this a free will choice that Pharaoh makes when his heart is hardened by God and he says no to Moses? Or is this something that God is doing to kind of prove God's majesty? There are all sorts of, the commentators go to town on this, as you might imagine, because it's a difficult thing to read, and lots of people have lots of things. And we Jews, in particular, are a people of 2 Jews and 3 opinions, and so we have all sorts of things to say about this.
There's so many things that repeat themselves, so it's like I find it, then it's not it.
Okay. Look for the shechin,
Yeah,
the boils.
yeah. Sorry.
Um,
You got all night right now. You got nowhere to be.
well, we have places to be.
I'm just kidding.
I know.
Trust me, I know there are places to be, like sleep.
That's right. Till tomorrow.
You know how like regular people have nightmares of being on stage and whatever and forgetting their lines? This is like my nightmare.
In any case, there are other ways to think about the plagues as well. Some people have actually tried to prove that there might have been a scientific set of events that naturally led to the cause of each of the plagues. Other people think about them more metaphorically as interpretive plagues that affect our natural world today. Certainly, there are illnesses that are going around right now, in China and other places. There are natural disasters that take place that are modern plagues. You could argue that the way that folks have treated our holy and sacred earth in a way is a modern plague, or that hatred or intolerance is a modern plague. And so how do we deal with them? Do we have the power to confront them? Do we have the power to change them? Are we stubborn about them? Are our hearts hardened and stiffened? What do you guys think? What? Frustrated. We're frustrated. It can feel intimidating because there's so much to confront all at once, and so it's difficult maybe sometimes to even choose what to focus our fights on. Where do we even begin to advocate? Yeah?
I think in a way this all has to do with in life everybody's going after their goals, but sometimes people in a way like will interfere, people will retaliate and they don't stop and think.
So sometimes.
Earlier this week they was it this week? Well, earlier this week a child in a particular like a student in the elementary school I go to was murdered by his parents, and they found out a couple days ago that like the parents was a cop. The parent was trying to cover it up. So like in a way like I'm saying,
That's horrible.
he felt like he did not stop and think, realize what damage is this going to do.
Yeah, well, there might be some larger issues there as well.
He got arrested
Y-
2 days ago.
Oh, that's horrible.
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah.
And
One of my friends friend's brother was friends with the kid.
And talk about modern plagues.
That's one.
Yes, yes, absolutely. And that's one that I think many of us could probably agree is particular importance. The protection and safety of children and all people is paramount in the Jewish religion, and I would hope in most religious practice, as well as to the greater world, and certainly is one that we need to confront together and not get sidetracked on other things. May we do that work together. May we find ways to make sure that our children are safe, that our fellow neighbors are safe, and that we advocate strongly for that in our lives.
Found it.
Okay. On a more ancient plague note, we're going to transition now back into our, I'm going to call forward who's already up, Roberta, to bless our Torah with an aliyah. Ta'amod Rikahana Ba Yosef Be'ita Aliyah. Baruch Adonai Hamborach Le'olam Va'ed.
Baruch Adonai Hamborach Le'olam Va'ed. Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu Melech Haolam Asher b'chabanu mikol ha'amim v'notan lanu et Torato. Baruch Atah Adonai Noten HaTorah.
Amen.
Amen. Vayikru et piach hakivshan ve'amdu lifnei Faro vayizrok oto Moshe hashamayma vayehi shechin ababot poreach b'adam uv'habema ve'lo yachlu hachotumim לעמוד לפני משה מפני השכין כי היה השכין בחרטומים ובכל מצרים ויחזק אדוני את לב פרעה ולא שמע עליהם כאשר דיבר אדוני אל משה.
Baruch Atah. Oh, you want me to do that?
Yeah,
Okay.
let her translate first.
Translate first.
It's all good. It's all good. And they took some of the soot from the kilns or the ovens as they stood before Pharaoh, and Moshe threw it towards the sky. And lo and behold, there were boils that appeared and inflammation on all of the animals and on all of the men. And they were not able, the magicians were not able to stand before Moses because of these boils, because they had manifest themselves and had come, and so they were not able to stand before him. Indeed, all of Egypt was affected by these boils. And so it was that Pharaoh's heart was strengthened or hardened, and he was not able to hear them. And it was just as Adonai, or God, said that it would have been to Moses in the past.
Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu Melech Haolam Asher Notan Lanu Torah Emet V'chayei Olam Rota B'torchenu. Baruch Atah Adonai Noten HaTorah.
Amen. With the Sefer Torah in our midst, our minds and our hearts and our thoughts now turn to those who are in need of healing, whether physical or spiritual. In particular, our community keeps in our thoughts Patty Abrams, Steve Abrams, Mike Allen, Joyce and Jim Amato, Steve Bergman, Marjorie Bernstein, Jean Bleckman, Sean Book, Robert Bradshaw, Elizabeth Brooks, Barry Brothers, Ashley Bryant, Corey Bryant, Gilda Barak, Dory Byan, Dino Callie, Roberta Cooperman, Susanna Klitsch, Doris Dito, Dr. Neal, Sharon Eckes, Phyllis Eisenberg, Lenny Eisler, Tom Ellsbury, Janet Falco, Dorothy Farrell, Ellen Fishman, David Freed, Bob Ferguson, Tyrone Gibbons, Dorothy Gilbert, Martin Goldstein, Paul Greenfield, Louis Gutierrez, Jennifer Gonslaves, Leah Gunther, Gina Haft, Sydney Hart, Peter Haynes, Marcia Hochheiser, Cameron Jones, Denise Karp, Lee Kaufman, Howard Cotel, Michael Lakin, Joanne Leopard, David Lidner, Kim Lorenzo, Cecile Luschnig, Barbara Maloney, Alyssa Markle, Tara Barron Malona, Fred Myers, Frank Michelson, Joan Mello, Marvin Migdal, Roberta Miller, Eli Mueller, Gina Muncy, Steve Napolitano, Christine Newman, Hunter O'Leary, Lois Oringer, Mike Pardamum, Stephanie Pluka, Carlos Porras, Sharon Portnoy, Jennifer Ann Riley, Dimitri Rigos, Martin Reiger, Ethan Roginski, Lonnie Rosenfeld, Marlene Rosalinsky, Beth Roth, Helene Rothstein, Jerry Saraceni, Bernie Schwartz, Kim Sesak, Benjamin Shalhevet, Jan Silverman, Aileen Stareshkevsky, Dr. Alan Lloyd Steinberg, Julie Thomas, George Vaslow, Jill Verbeck, Jenna Weisberg, Walter Winzel, Allison Wexler, Bob Weiner, Barry and Cynthia Willens, Esther Wilkins, Merrill Williams, Marvin Wyman, and Abby Zeltman. If there are other names to add or names that I might have inadvertently mispronounced, I invite you to do so at this time. Jerry.
Dawn Parker, Mike Bucharia, and Al Furcher.
Roberta.
Jessica Bohr.
Mark.
Lloyd West.
Roberta Paisley.
Jen. Sure. Linda.
Ethan Rudzinski and Bill Morgan.
Alan.
Scott Berg, Elizabeth Wyman, Karen Christie.
Matthew Stefano.
Stu Weisenberg.
We keep these names in our hearts and thoughts as we sing our prayer for healing, our Misha Bera, on page 371 in the middle of the page. Misha Bera, Wahoteinu, Mekor HaBracha, Imotenu, the source of strength, who bless the ones before us. Help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say, Amen. Misha Berach Imotenu Mekor HaBracha Lavotenu, as those in need of healing, with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen. We now now prepare for Hagba, which is Torah lifting, not the kind of exercise lifting, but rather lifting that involves us being able to see a bit of the Torah. If you'd like to follow along as we sing, we're on the bottom of page 370. This is a moment for which we rise, so I'll invite everyone to stand.
וזאת התורה אשר שם משה לפני בני ישראל על פי אדוני ביד משה. לי 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 לי
Page 374. Yahalalu et Shem Adonai ki nizgab shemo levado. Odo le'eretz v'shamayim vayarem keren le'amo tehila lecho chasida libnei Israel am kerovo. Hallelujah, hallelujah. It's a tree of life for those who hold fast to it, and all its supporters are happy. Its ways are ways of pleasantness, and all its paths are peace. Return us to you, Adonai, and we will return, renew our days as of old.
Eitz Chaim hi v'machazikim ba v'tomecheha meushar deracheha darchei noam v'chol netivoteha shalom. Hashivenu Adonai Elecha v'nashuva. Chadesh, Chadesh Yameinu, Chadesh Yameinu kekedem.
Please be seated. The Place Where We Are Right by Yehuda Amichai. From the place where we are right, flowers will never grow in the spring. The place where we are right is hard and trampled like a yard. But doubts and loves dig up the world like a mole, a plow, and a whisper will be heard in the place where the ruined house once stood. It's an understatement to say that Jews are an opinionated lot. We hold fast to our opinions, dig in our heels, and argue incessantly. One only has to look at our history and literature to see how argument is completely rooted in our culture and our identity. Yet in our world today, it seems like we have lost the ability to debate and continue to hold on even tighter to our stubborn opinions. Our hearts have become hardened and closed off to constructive argument. We have lost the ability to truly listen to one another and trust that when we speak, we will be heard. How can we grow if we can't even consider views with which we disagree? Our parsha this evening, Ba'era, we encounter Moses and Pharaoh having just such a difficult conversation, one in which both representatives know that they are correct. Moses knows that God has given him an essential mission to free the Hebrew slaves. And Pharaoh knows that he is the proud owner of an inexpensive workforce needed to help build his empire. As unfair as that seems. Moses, though, under the direction from God, shows Pharaoh miraculous proof in the forms of the first 7 plagues: blood, frogs, lice, beast pestilence, boils, and hail. One by one, Pharaoh turns away from Moses' call, making his heart stiffer and less soft. And then, when we read about the boils, we learn that God hardens Pharaoh's heart. 18th century Italian philosopher Rabbi Moshe Chaim Luzzatto claims that Pharaoh, even then, had the power and responsibility to listen to Moses. He wrote, "Our external actions have an effect on our internal feelings, that we have more control over our actions than our emotions, and if we utilize what is in our power, we will eventually acquire what is not as much in our power." Hardening Pharaoh's heart in this light is simply heightening his already prevalent emotions while not impeding his actions. In our time, the same consequences exist. The longer we continue to believe that we are right, to feel more righteous, and to write off others' opinions and views, the harder our hearts will become, and the less able we will be to hold a constructive debate, whether it is about politics, core values, our favorite restaurant, or the best way to celebrate Judaism. It is incumbent upon us to listen to views we disapprove of, disagree with, or find disheartening. This is not to say that there are not views that cross the line, such as murder or physical violence, rather to say that there are many more views that do not. Perhaps by listening, we might gain more understanding as to why each person holds the views they prefer and to consider how they came to hold them. If we continue to simply avoid difficult topics, we may never find our way back to essential conversation and debate. May we find a way to reinvigorate constructive debate and disagreement, softening our hearts to take at least a moment to listen before closing ourselves off to the possibility that a differing opinion might be persuasive or hold merit. And may we live in a place in which we consider, perhaps, that we are not right, at least some of the time. Ken Yehi Ratzon, may this be God's will. Shabbat Shalom. We continue now with our Aleinu prayer, which is on page 586. I invite you to rise as we sing out together. 586 at the bottom.
Aleinu leshabeach ladon hakol, latei kedula liotzer breshit, shelo asanu k'le'aratzot, velo samanu k'mishpachot ha'adama, shelo sam helkenu kahem, v'kol aleinu kechol hamonam. ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא.
Page 591 at the top. May we gain wisdom in our lives, overflowing like a river with understanding. Loved each of us for the peace we bring to others. May our deeds exceed our speech. And may we never lift up our hand, but to conquer fear and doubt and despair. We read together. Rise up like the sun, O God, over all humanity. Cause light to go forth over all the lands between the seas, and light up the universe with the joy of wholeness, of freedom, and of peace. Adonai, lemelech al kol haaretz, bayom hahu, yeh Adonai echad, u'shemo echad. Please be seated. Our thoughts now turn to those who have departed this earth, our own loved ones, those whom our friends and neighbors have lost, the martyrs of our people whose graves are unmarked, and those of every race and nation whose lives have been a blessing to humanity. As we remember them, we meditate on the meaning of love and loss, of life and of death. In particular, we remember this week those who we have lost and whom we are in a period of Shiva, of 7 days of mourning, Seymour Gross and Elizabeth Kaiser. In addition, those whom we are in a period of Shaloshim, of 30 days of mourning, Rosalie Rock and Ted Winokur. For those whose yard sites fall on this evening, we remember as well Judy Church, Charles Cohen, Gus Cohen, Muriel Cohen, Celia Geller, Sylvia Goldbaum, Morton Goldberg, Stanley Goldsmith, James F. Enterlocchio, Terry Eartham, Sarah Cass, Murray Levine, Ruth Levine, Sidney Lowenberg, Violet Lyons, Charles Meyer, Elizabeth Meyer, Joan Kramer Miner, Lila R. Morrison, Bernard Muraff, Eugene Russell, Al Roth, John Seedorf, Louis Schneider, Jacob Schuschman, Sam Spergel, Walter Sprague, Betty Stone, Sam Soltsaft, Phyllis Tates, Susan Elizabeth Toff, Lena Weinstein, Leanne West, Rosalie Wetzler, Jacob Zimmerman. If there are other names to add or names that I might have inadvertently mispronounced, I invite you to share those names at this moment. For those watching online, if you'd like to share a name, please do so. We turn now to our Mourner's Kaddish, our Kaddish Yatom, our prayer for mourning on page 598. I invite you to rise if it is your custom to do so. Yitkadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah v'alma divrach rutei v'yamalith malchutei v'chayechon uv'yomechon uv'chayei dekol Beit Yisrael v'agala ubizman kari v'imru amen. Yehi shemei Rabbah mevorach le'olam u'almei almaya. Yitvarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh. V'yitadar v'yitalev v'yitalal shemei kudesha barichu. La'ela min kol birchata v'shirata. Tush b'chata v'nechemata. Da'amiran v'alma v'imru amen. Yehi shalom rabba min shemaya. V'chaim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Oseh shalom b'imromav. Hu ya'aseh shalom. Aleinu v'al kol Yisrael V'imru, Amen. May the one who creates harmony on high bring peace to us, to all Israel, and to the world, to which we say, Amen. Please be seated. I'd like to now invite up our stylish president, Paul Weber, to share some exciting happenings in our congregational community for which we hope that you will be a part of.
Thank you, Rabbi. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
Our Tu B'Shvat Seder will be held on Friday, February 7th at 6:30 p.m. It will be led by the senior youth group.
Yay!
We will be eating fruits grown on trees from the land of Israel. This is not a dinner. You will eat ritual fruits, nuts, and juice. Please RSVP to the temple office. There is no charge for this event. Our annual Scouts Shabbat will be held on Friday, February 14th at 7:15 p.m. Another Shabbat, which is Shabbat across America, will be held on Friday, February 28th at 6:15 p.m. The cost of this dinner is $12 per person or $6 per child 12 and under. Please see the kiosk in the lobby or in the bulletin for the order form. If you are new to B'nai Israel or just visiting, please introduce yourself after the service to our rabbi, the cantor, or myself so we can meet you. If you are interested in our adult education classes, please call the temple office. Classes are listed in the temple bulletin. Save the date, Wednesday, April 8th, for our temple Passover Seder. See the February bulletin for details. And next Friday is what, Cantor?
Musical Shabbat.
Woo-hoo!
And that will be at 7:30 p.m. Thank you.
Thank you. And also on that February 14th family service, we'll be dedicating some new prayer books that we're going to start using, so that will be an exciting opportunity. So I encourage you all to come and to celebrate. And again, special thanks to Jan Silverman for the donation that made it possible for us to purchase those wonderful prayer books.
They're for family services. These we're holding on to these.
Yeah, we're not getting rid of
Just
these.
like so you don't get nervous. We're a family service.
That's right.
So we'll conclude our service with Adon Olam on page 625. Adon
Olam asher malach b'terem kol yitzir nivra le'nasa v'chefso kol azai melech shemo nikra ve'acharei kichlot hakol levado imloch nora vehu haya vehu hoveh vehu yiyeh v'tifara vehu echad v'ein sheni lemavshiro lehachbira v'li reshit v'li tachlit v'lo ha'oz v'ham Yisra v'hu Eli v'chai go'ali v'tzor chavli v'tzara v'hu nisi umanos li me'at kosi b'yom ekra b'yado yakiruchi v'tisham ve'ayira ve'imruchi ve'viati Adonai li ve'lo ira. We gather together for a quick closing blessing. I encourage you, if you see somebody off to their selves, to invite them into your little group. Blessed are you, Adonai, our God, who brings us to this moment of Shabbat celebration. May it be one in which we engage in constructive debate and dialogue, one in which we share our views, one in which we are respectful to one another, one in which we show what we care for and who we love, and one that we celebrate as a group, as a community, as individuals, as we say together, Amen. Shabbat Shalom, everyone. I know.